All right, class, today's lesson we're going to be working on close reading, analyzing a first-person point of view. So our objectives for today is that I will be able to read and identify and annotate examples of first-person point of view in a text and use that understand a point of view to answer a close reading question. Now, just a reminder of what first person is. That's when you use words like I, me, we. So let's look at these sentences and see how we can change it to first person. So we have this sentence of, she was amused watching the chipmunk carry nuts. This is third person because of the word she. So how we change it to first person is we replace that she with I. And now you're part of that story. I was amused watching the chipmunk carry nuts. Let's look at this one right here. They saw the little bird get bossed by bigger birds. We want to make it so it's your experience. So what could we change? Well, instead of they, because that doesn't include you, we could use the word I. I saw the big bird. Or if we want it to be a group of people, we could say we. We saw the little bird get bossed by bigger birds. Now this one, number 3, is a little bit trickier. The chipmunk finished building its home in its yard. Now we don't want to just change this chipmunk to I. I finished building its home in its yard, because that chipmunk's one of our important characters. So there's something else that we have to change in order to make it first person. And it's this part. It's not building its home in its yard. We could change it to something like it's my yard. So now you're part of that story. He's in your territory. So remember, that's how we decide what's first person, is when we use words like I, we, my. So let's look at what this close reading question is that we'll be working on. Reread paragraphs 10 through 12 of Being in and Seeing Nature and paragraphs 1 to 3 of A Bird's Free Lunch. So we have two different texts. Discuss the effect of first-person point of view in those texts. Does the first-person point of view have a similar or different effect in each selection? So let's break this down. And what I'm going to do, because it helps me organize my thoughts, is I'm going to make a chart that has those two texts in them. So I'm going to drag this on over, drag this one over, drag this one. Now it looks like we're about ready. So I have A Bird's Free Lunch, and I have Being in and Seeing Nature, or the chipmunk, because that's what he was talking about. That was the excerpt that we pulled out. So let's look at how we know it's first person. So first, let's go to John Burroughs, because that's the one we're already on right now. And let me make this bigger for us. There we go, perfect. And it's telling us to read what paragraphs? Well, it's telling us to read 10 through 12. So let's head on over to 10 through 12 and see what we have in store. I'm going to drag this guy down. And then also I'm going to bring this close reading prompt so we can refer back to it when we need it. So paragraphs 10 through 12. Looking on this side right over here. Burroughs now develops his main character, the chipmunk, by describing its actions. Note, though, that Burroughs, as a storyteller, is part of the story too. I was much amused one October in watching a chipmunk carry nuts and other food into its den. He had made a well-defined path from his door through the weeds and dry leaves into the territory where his feeding grounds lay. The path was a crooked one. It dipped under weeds, some large, loosely piled stones, under piled chestnuts. Then followed the remains of an old wall. Huh. Well, right away, I see it's first person because it has what? It has that word I on it. So I'm going to put that as my first portion. How I know it's first person point of view. So we have the use, and let me put that bullet point on. We have the use, or what? Use of the pronoun I. Now what else do we see? Well, there's a lot of figurative language in there. There's a lot of description going on. So what do I notice? Well, he says there's a well-defined path. There's weeds and dry leaves in his territory. Where his ground is, it's dipped under weeds. So it's very descriptive. So I'm going to type that in as well. Now what else do I notice? Well, I also notice, since it's in that first person point of view, the effect that it has is it's kind of like a story. So it reads like a story. Even though he's describing this chipmunk, it's kind of like an adventure. And not only that, but when he's using this word I, it's like he's in the story. He's a character. He's not just like some figure up in the sky like you might think of like God watching down and not having interaction, but he is a part of it. We'll see over here it says, I would see him come back. So he's like invested in this chipmunk. So I'm going to add that for my next part. It seems like the narrator is part of the story. Now notice, I'm typing in a bird's free lunch, so I do need to move this over to the chipmunk when I'm finished. And now my next part is, because he's using this first person point of view, it gives a sense of the narrator's interest in what he's observing. It's showing us that this isn't just something he's doing because he's bored, but it seems like he's genuinely concerned or genuinely cares about what's going on in this chipmunk's life. So now that we have this part right here, we're going to head on over to a bird's free lunch and see what we can pull up from that portion. So let's head on over to a bird's free lunch. And then if you remember, it wanted us to read paragraphs 1 through 3. So I'm going to take this little guy, slide him over, and paste down. And then we're also going to bring our prompt so we can refer to it as well. So now just to make sure, I'm going to just reread this prompt, and it says reread paragraphs 1 through 3 of A Bird's Free Lunch and discuss the effect of first person point of view in those texts. So what is it like when this narrator is now doing first person point of view? So let's head on over to our text and find out. One winter, I fastened pieces of suet and marrow bones upon the tree in my front window. Then I sat at my desk and watched the birds eat their free lunch. The jays bossed the woodpeckers bossed the chickadees, and the chickadees bossed the kinglet. The kinglet was the least of all, a sort of hop of my thumb bird. He became quite tame, and one day alighted upon my arm as I stood leaning against the tree. I could have put my hand upon him several times. I wonder where he roosted. He was all alone. He liked the fair so well that he seemed disposed to stop till spring. During one terrible night of wind and snow and 0 temperature, I feared he would be swept away. I thought of him in the middle of the night, and the violence of the storm kept me from sleep. Imagine the solitary atom of feathers drifting about in the great advice of the outdoors and managing to survive. I fancied him in one of my thick spruces, his head under his tiny wing, buffeted by wind and snow, his tiny black feet clinging to the perch, wishing that morning would come. So, what do I notice? Well, right again, I notice that it's also first person because it has that I in there. So we're going to put that in for our beginning portion. Use of the pronoun I. Now, what I also notice is this one has some figurative language in it. It's descriptive, but he puts some information there that's a little bit more enjoyable for us to read. So let's see if we can find some of that figurative language that we see in here. The violence of the storm kept me from sleep. I like that imagery. During one terrible night of wind and snow and 0 temperatures, might be swept away. Imagine this solitary atom in feathers drifting about in the great Arctic, managing to survive. So we have some good description in here as well, and some figurative language to really get that idea of what's going on. Now this one also, if we don't want to put figurative language, we can put some descriptive language in as well. because he does do a good job of describing it, in addition to that figurative language. Now, again, this one seems like a story as well. It's read as we're watching this bird and his plight and how dark and stormy winter is. Now, it also seems like in here the narrator is part of the story as well. Seems like narrator is part of the story. But there's something a little bit different about this one. It, again, gives the sense of how much the narrator cares about what he's observing. Because notice, he doesn't want this little guy to survive, or he wants him to survive. He doesn't want him to perish. He's wondering, he's saying he can't get to sleep because he's thinking about this violent storm and this bird. So they both have very similar patterns that's going on. They both read like a story. They both have that descriptive language. They both use that pronoun I. They both, as the narrator, are invested in what's going on, and they give a sense of what the narrator's interested in, he's observing. He's really caring about what's going on. Now, I want you guys to think about, how does this first person description of the chipmunk and the kinglet add to our understanding of the text? It's really showing us that he's very concerned about these little animals. Remember, this one and the chipmunk were both written by John Burroughs. And that first person is showing us that he wasn't just someone who wrote about nature, but he deeply cared about it. Good luck, guys, and we'll see you in our next video.